After a few days with the HTC One Max, I can tell you a couple of things that are great about this device and a couple of things that make it lag behind in the phablet space. I'm Aaron Baker from PhoneDog.com, and this is the first impressions of the HTC One Max. Does it hold up to the Galaxy Note 3, the Xperia Z Ultra, and other big devices? Let's go find out. There's no doubt about it, after working with the HTC One Max for a few days, there are a lot of things that I think are good about this device in comparison to not only the One, but also some of the other phablet devices on the market. That said, there are a couple of things that I've noticed about this device that I think they could have improved on and perhaps could improve on in the next iteration of this device. So let's dive in and take a look at some of those in this quick first impressions video. First of all, quick recap here. It's got basically the same internals from a lot of ways, or in a lot of ways rather, as the HTC One. It's got a 1.7 gigahertz quad-core Snapdragon 600 CPU, 2 gigabytes of RAM, 32 gigabytes of internal storage in the Sprint version, 4G LTE connectivity, and then that 4 ultra-pixel camera on the back. Where it changes it around a little bit, 5.9-inch full 1080p HD display here. So not only is it a big display all around, but it's a beautiful 1080p HD display. So I can tell you I've been exceptionally impressed with the display here. It's absolutely gorgeous. Much like the HTC One, brings a giant display for content consumption and continues to preserve the beauty of it, if you will. You know, they didn't skimp and make it a 720p display. They made it full 1080p. And then, of course, the fingerprint scanner on the back is a cool feature as well, though to be totally honest with you, I don't use this on a daily basis. I used it for like the first day and then turned it off. So the placement is a little bit out of touch to me versus being, you know, near the camera. I find it to be a little bit close to the camera, and that's a challenge because oftentimes I'd go to swipe down and I'd end up fingerprinting or getting fingerprints on the camera lens itself or the camera glass itself as opposed to the fingerprint scanner. So 3,400 milliamp hour battery, that's the other big win here. Huge battery in this device, really big, beautiful display. And I just want to show you my battery stats in comparison to some of the other devices on the market so you can see what I'm getting here. I have not charged this device once in the time that I've been working with it. You can see 4 days I've been doing a combination of standby testing and actual use testing just to see how long I can get juice out of this device. It's running right now on Sprint's 3G network. It's been a combination of 3G and 4G LTE in Dallas, but you can see 4 days, 5 hours, 50 minutes, 47 seconds on battery, and I'm still at 27%. So really an impressive battery number here. Like I said, a combination of standby. Wanted to test that out because HTC has done a good job historically with standby times, and wanted to test out some use case stuff as well. But overall, you know, where I think they really could improve here, when you look at the software of the HTC One Max, definitely a really nice improvement over previous versions of Sense. Sense 5.5 is a great version of Sense. You've got Android 4.3 on this device out of the box, Jelly Bean. So it's definitely up to date or pretty close to being up to date. Obviously 4.4 is out. But one of the areas I think they could really improve upon in this device, there's no real additional content creation here. I mean, you've got a big display, but really it's literally a supercharged, turbocharged, supersized HTC One. I mean, there's no real difference. You're not getting anything in the increase in size and the increase in screen size. Obviously, you're getting a 1080p display that's bigger, you're getting the fingerprint scanner, but in terms of software value adds, you're not really getting anything additional. I mean, you notice, for example, in messaging, and pardon me while I pull it away so I can pull up a message here just for a test, and I'll show you, 8353 here, for example, which was a test message I sent a couple of days ago, and you can see here, portrait landscape, I mean, it's exactly the same software experience as the HTC One. It's not something like some of these other devices on the market that take advantage of the screen size, perhaps for multitasking, or maybe when you throw it into landscape mode, you've got, it splits up and gives you separate options here for the actual body of the message and the text themselves. I just don't see a lot of things in the software that are really maximizing the screen size, and that's a concern as you go into this phablet war, because really to me that's the distinguishing factor of having a large device, the fact that you can have these software value adds and take advantage of the big display. You can draw on it, you can do a lot of different things with it. LG does this, Samsung does it to an even greater extent with the S Pen, to be able to draw on the display and change stuff around and screenshot, and you'll be able to use the device as a content, not only a content consumption, but a content creation device as well, something that I find myself missing out on with the HTC One Max. Also really enjoying Hotspot Shield VPN. I gotta give them a shout because you know what? You can save 20% by using coupon code PhoneDog and activating Hotspot Shield. I like this because you can browse securely, you can browse privately. If you're like me, I browse my bank accounts pretty regularly on my device, and I don't want those to go into the wrong hands. I have money coming out of my bank accounts enough as is. Well, with Hotspot Shield, they'll make sure you're secure, that you're browsing privately, that you're browsing securely, and better yet, you can get that 20% off, like I said, using coupon code PhoneDog. So thanks to them for partnering with us. I love good offers like that. Love to be able to offer you a great deal, and thanks to Hotspot Shield we're able to do that and give you 20% off to boot by using that coupon code. So that's a great app I've been using. Of course, Speed Test is on here as well. HTC's TV application is here. The power button's been moved to the right side. And then, of course, the IR blaster is up here at top. A little bit easier to activate the power button. Still a challenge to wrap my hand around it. Obviously, I can barely get my full hand around it. It's a big device, but it preserves most of that HTC One design language. So if you like the design language of the HTC One, this is a great option. Of course, the cover is removable, and this shows off the micro SD card slot and the SIM card slot, but the battery, keep in mind, is non-removable even though the back comes off. So that is something to keep in mind. So that unibody construction is not here on this device, but you know what? I actually prefer, being totally honest with you, after working with the HTC One and HTC One Mini, I actually prefer the design of the One Mini. And if you look at this, you'll see this kind of is very similar in a lot of ways to the HTC One Mini, with the plastic sides and then, of course, the metal on the front and metal on the back, versus the HTC One, which was designed a little bit differently around the edges. I find this design to be preferable, at least in my personal use, versus the HTC One. I think the volume rocker buttons are much easier to press on the One Max as well. So they made some of these subtle design changes to the One Max that are obviously based on consumer feedback, and in my opinion, they really increase the overall usability of the device. Just would love to see more software value adds. I mean, because again, it's a great experience all around. Really enjoy the use of this device, really enjoy the big display. The 1080p HD display is gorgeous, but it needs some software value adds to really distinguish itself as a phablet. I mean, it needs to be able to have some capability of drawing or content creation. And while this is a great consumption device, YouTube, browsing, etc., content creation, it's still lacking in comparison to the Galaxy Note 3 and the Optimus G Pro. Keep it locked on PhoneDog.com for more on the HTC One Max. Really impressed with battery life here. Can't wait to continue to put that to the test in the full video review. I'm on Twitter at PhoneDog_Aaron and would love to hear what you have to say about the HTC One Max. Is it a device you're considering, or perhaps you're on AT&T and it's not coming to your carrier and you're frustrated, or maybe you're looking at this device, you're on Verizon, but you're debating between it and another device? I'd love to hear from you on Twitter at PhoneDog_Aaron or on Facebook at facebook.com/HiAaronBaker. Stay tuned for the full review of HTC's newest device. It's a flagship. It's got a lot of great features, and we're going to put them to the test in the full video review. I'll see you next time.